Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Saya Encik Sahasri bin Saleh daripada SMK Datuk Perdana Bacuk, iaitu Guru Akademik Kimia Stpm. Hari ini saya harap semua pelajar berada dalam keadaan yang sihat sejahtera. Sebelum kita mulakan kelas kita akan membincangkan tentang bagaimana untuk menjawab soalan kimia Stpm 962/1 bagi penggal 1. Sebelum kita teruskan, kita lihat kepada soalan 18, iaitu Stpm 2020. Okey, adakah semua pelajar telah bersedia? Kita pergi pada soalan yang pertama, iaitu ammonium nitrate is used by farmers as fertilizer. A. State all types of bond present in ammonium nitrate. Before you are going to answer these questions, you have to identify all types of bond in chemical bonding. For example is ionic bond, covalent bond, and coordinate bond. And students, you have to specify all types of bond in ammonium nitrate. Okay, make sure that you are going to specify all the types of bond in ammonium nitrate. Okay, firstly, the answer is, you have to answer is, ionic bond is between ammonium ion and nitrate ion. What is ionic bond? Ionic bond is an attractive force between the positively and negatively charged ions. Okay, that's for the first mark. And then you have to specify what are the bonds present in ammonium and nitrate. For the second part is, in ammonium, covalent bonds is present between N and 3 hydrogen atom. Okay, and then the coordinate bond is between N and 1 hydrogen atom. Okay, go to next one. Okay, so for the nitrate atom, okay, so you have to specify the bond in nitrate ion. Okay, so the special bond is the covalent bond between N and 2 oxygen atoms. It also has the coordinate bond between N 1 O atom. For both ions, so you have to draw the Lewis structure first. Okay, we go to the next questions, 18b. So I will read the question first. Both nitrogen atom in ammonium nitrate exhibit different types of hybridization. Draw the Lewis structure of ammonium nitrate. Identify the type of hybridization, the geometry, and state the bond angles around each nitrogen atom. The marks given are 8 marks. So please highlight all the questions so that you will not miss the points. Okay, so we look at the answer, students. Okay, kita teruskan dengan bagaimana untuk melukis Lewis structure, on how to draw the Lewis structure. Okay, I hope that every student know how to draw the Lewis structure. Okay, there are few steps. The first step is you have to calculate the total valence electrons. I give you example. For nitrogen, it has 5 valence electron. For the hydrogen, it has 1 valence electron. And you have to multiply by the 4 atoms in the molecule. And then the positive sign indicate that it will donate the electron. So you must eliminate the electron. You will get the total valence electrons. The next step is you have to identify the center atom and terminal atom. In this case, the central atom is the nitrogen atom. Meanwhile, the terminal atom is hydrogen. You draw the bond between the N and hydrogen atom, and then you must put the positive charge on the nitrogen atoms. Next, we go to the second structure. I hope every student know already how to draw the Lewis structure. For example, for this ion is nitric ion. It has 5 valence electron, and then it has 3 oxygen atom which has 6 valence electron, and then you create a bond between nitrogen and oxygen. Make sure that you calculate the formal charge between all atoms, for example for N and for oxygen. Make sure that you put the positive charge on nitrogen, meanwhile the negative charge on the single atom of oxygen. So this is the most stable structure of nitrate ion. Next. Okay, we go to the second questions. Okay, the second question is on how to determine the hybridization. Okay, for ammonium, you must know that the N atom in ammonium undergoes sp3 hybridization. How do you know that it will undergo the sp3 hybridization? Okay, you must calculate the bond pair and including the lone pair. So in this case, ammonium has 4 bond pair, so it will has sp3 hybridizations because it has 4 bond pairs. For the second part is how to determine the nitrogen atom in nitrate. Do you know that? Okay, so in the nitrate ion, it only has 3 bond pair. Okay, so you don't have to count for the pi bond. You only count for the sigma bond. So sigma bond, so it has 3 sigma bond. So N atom in nitrate ion will undergo sp2 hybridizations. We go to the next questions or the next answer. Okay, so the next question is how to determine the molecular shape. So you have to follow the VSEPR theory. What is the VSEPR theory? VSEPR theory is valence shell electron pair repulsions. Okay, so you have to draw the correct molecular shape for ammonium ion and nitrate ion. From your drawings, okay, you will know that ammonium ion has tetrahedral geometry. So that is the molecular shape of ammonium. For nitrate ion, you have to draw the correct shape. Okay, it has 3 bond pair, so the nitrate ion will have the trigonal planar geometry. Okay, what about the bond angle? How you determine the bond angle? So I hope every student know how to determine the bond angle by looking at the molecular shape of the molecule. So the bond angle in ammonium ion is 109.5 degree. Meanwhile, for the bond angle in nitrate ion is only 120 degree. Okay, so we try to answer the next questions. Okay, for question C, the question asking you about why is ammonium nitrate suitable to be used as fertilizer? Kenapakah ammonium nitrate sesuai digunakan sebagai baja? So you must give the correct answer or the correct explanations. The correct answer will be ammonium nitrate is soluble in water. Okay, for the second marks is ammonium nitrate has high percentage of nitrogen. Because of these reasons, this will make ammonium nitrate is very suitable to be used as fertilizer. We go to the next one. Okay, for the second questions that I will discuss today, okay, you have to look at the question 19. for Stpm 2020. The question is, the first one is, state Dalton's law of partial pressure. Okay, state Dalton's laws of partial pressure. So the keywords here is to only state what is the Dalton's law of partial pressure. The marks given are 2 marks. Okay, to answer this question, you have to give the complete definitions. Okay, for example, the answer will be, for a mixture of a non-reacting gases. Okay, remember that this is the law that explain about the non-reacting gases. Okay, make sure that the gases are not reacting with each other. So for a mixture of non-reacting gases, the total pressure is the sum of the partial pressure of the constituent gases. I give you an example. Let's say in the vessel it has 3 gases. It has oxygen gas, it has nitrogen gas, and it has carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so each gas in the vessel has its own partial pressure. So the total pressure for the vessel will be the total partial pressure of each gases exists in the vessel. So the P total will become the P of oxygen, P of nitrogen, and P of carbon dioxide. So that is the examples of how to understand the Dalton's laws of partial pressure. Okay, we go to the next one. Okay, this is the calculation part. Okay, part B. Okay, so from the first part, it asks you about the Dalton's law. So the second part, it will be related to the first part. Okay, for part B, the question is, a closed cylinder of volume 5 dm cubic contains 0.29 mole of nitrogen and 0.64 mole of oxygen at 25 degrees Celsius. The question is, calculate the partial pressure of nitrogen in the cylinder. Okay, so the first thing that you should do is you have to highlight the informations or data given in the question. The data given in the questions are the volume of the container, the mole of the oxygen and nitrogen gas. Okay, and also the question gives you the temperature. Okay, so the question asks you about how to calculate the partial pressure of nitrogen in the cylinder. Okay, so for the first step or for the first move, you have to calculate the total number of moles present in the vessel. You know that the gas present in the vessels are nitrogen gas and oxygen gas. So you just calculate the total number of moles given in the question, which are 0.29 mole plus 0.64 moles. So you will get 0.93 mole of gas presence. Okay, so the next step is you have to using the ideal gas equation, which is using the PV is equals to nRT. What is the ideal gas equations? Ideal gas equations include the pressure, volume, number of moles, gas constant, and temperature involved in the ideal gas. From the ideal gas equation, you derive another equation, which is P total. PT is for P total is equals to NT multiplied by R and T. So the new equation will be PT is equals to NT/RT. Okay, we go to the next slide or the next answer. Okay, so from here, from the calculations, okay, you can calculate the P total. Okay, so the P total is equal to NT RT per V. Okay, so N total that here you already got from the first one. Okay, the total mole is 0.93. The R or gas constant is given is 8.31. Okay, and then the T is in degree Celsius. Okay, so you have to convert in Kelvin. And then the volume you must convert in meter cubic. Okay, so for the substitution you must substitute the correct unit. For example, the correct unit of temperature is Kelvin. The correct unit for volume is meter cubic. Okay, and then you calculate all the information that you got here, and you will got the answer. The answer is 4.6 the power of 5 Pascal. So that is the answer. So you must give the correct unit of pressure, which is Pascal, and the correct significant figure, which is 2 significant figure, by looking at the correct significant figure in the questions. Okay, we go to the next one. Okay, the next one is you have to calculate the partial pressure of gas. Okay, for the first one is you have to calculate the partial pressure of nitrogen. Okay, so you have to look or to remember the Dalton's law equation. The equation is P nitrogen is equals to X nitrogen multiplied by the P total. Okay, how to determine the X nitrogen? The X nitrogen is the mole fraction of nitrogen. How to determine the mole fraction, students? Okay, to determine the mole fractions, you should have the mole of nitrogen, and you should have the total mole of nitrogen. So the mole fractions of nitrogen is given by 0.29 divided by 0.93. And then the P total that you already calculated is 4.6 the power of 5. So from this you can calculate the partial pressure of nitrogen, which is 1.4 the power of 5 Pascal. So again, make sure that the unit is correct, students. We go to the next one. The next question is 19b. An aqueous solution is formed when sodium chloride is dissolved in water. I repeat, an aqueous solution is formed when sodium chloride is dissolved in water. Describe the differences in vapor pressure, the freezing point, and boiling point of water, and use solution using phase diagram. Okay, before you start to answer these questions, okay, make sure that you understand the questions. Okay, the question asks you about explain the differences in vapor pressure, freezing point, and boiling point of water, and solution using the phase diagram. So you must draw the phase diagram. Okay, for the first step or the first mode, if the first step that you are going to take is you have to draw both phase diagram of water and solution in one diagram. We go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the correct phase diagram of water and solution. Okay, make sure that you draw it properly and correct. For the axis, the y-axis is pressure in terms of in the unit of atmosphere, and then x-axis is temperature. So make sure that the axis is correct, and then you draw the phase diagram of water, including all the states present. For example, where is the solid, where is the liquid, and where is the gas states. And then the phase diagram of water is represented in the black line. Meanwhile, for the solution is represented by the red lines. Okay, for the marks given for this graph, okay, for the first one is you have to give the correct axis. Make sure is P against temperature. So that is for the first mark. For the second one is you have to label the state of water. For example, here you have to state the locations or the state of water in solid, liquid, and gas. So that will give you the second mark. Okay, for the next mark is you have to label phase diagram of water, which is the black line. The next label phase diagram of solution is in the red line. So when you draw this correct phase diagram of water and labeling all the stated points, so you will get 4 correct points. Okay, we go to the next one. Okay, from your diagram, you have to describe about your phase diagram that you just draw. Okay, so you have to compare the differences in the vapor pressure, the differences of freezing point, and the differences in terms of boiling point. Okay, you can compare either by looking at the water, or you can compare by looking at the solution. Okay, I give you example of answer. The first one is you can say that vapor pressure of water is higher than the solution. Okay, and then or you can say that vapor pressure of the solution is lower than the vapor pressure of water. Okay, so make sure you stress on the water or the solution. If you talk about water, you must talk about the vapor pressure of water is higher than the solution. The second mark is given on the freezing point. Okay, the freezing point of water is higher than the solution. Okay, or you can say that the freezing point of solution is lower than water. Okay, so that is for the second point. The third point is you have to talk about the boiling point. The boiling point of water is lower than solution. Okay, so I give you three examples of answer here. I only emphasize on the water. So I compare with water and solution. So I repeat the answer. The vapor pressure of water is higher than the solution. The second mark is the freezing point of water is higher than the solution. And then the last one is the boiling point of water is lower than solutions. So that is the 3 marks given. So we go to the next question. The question here is for question 18 for Stpm 2019. So make sure that you have the questions. You will go through the question so that you will know on how to answer the questions. Okay, the questions given are sulfur can form various oxide. For example, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, and SO3 2- or sulfate ion. Okay, so that is the keyword. Sulfur can form various oxide. For example, SO2, SO3, and SO3 2-. Now look at the questions. Questions A. Draw the Lewis structure of each oxide given. Draw the Lewis structure of each oxide given, and next deduce the shape of the molecules using VSPR theory. So the marks given are 12 marks. Okay, so make sure that you highlight again what are the questions and what are the information. So the question needs you to draw the Lewis structure of each oxide given, and then determine the molecular shape by using the VSPR theory. The marks given are 12, so 4 marks for each structure. Okay, so we go to the answer. Okay, so for the first structure, you have to draw the correct Lewis structure for SO2 or for sulfur dioxide. So this is the structure. Okay, it has the double bond and it has the valence electron. So make sure that you draw the correct bond and also the correct number of valence electron for each atom. Okay, so you will get first mark for the structure. Okay, from your drawing or from your structure, okay, you have to look at from the VSPR theory. Okay, from the VSPR theory, S atom, or we call that the central atom, has 2 bond pairs and 1 lone pair. Okay, so that will be the second mark. Okay, the next mark will be given on the determine the molecular shape. Okay, because of the SO2 has 2 bond pairs and 1 lone pair, the molecular shape is bent, or you can say that, or you can state that as V shape. So that will give you the third marks. Okay, for the next mark will be given on the bond angle. Okay, because of the structure is bent or V shape, the bond angle of SO2 is less than 120 degrees because of the presence of the lone pair on the sulfur atoms. Okay, so for the first one, you will get 4 marks for SO2 structure. Okay, next we go to the next molecule. The next molecule is SO3. Okay, students, so again you have to draw the correct shapes of SO3. Okay, from the correct shape, you will get that it has 3 bond pairs with 3 double bond with correct valence electron on the oxygen atom. So the first mark will be given on the correct shape. Okay, so from your drawing, okay, by using the VSPR theory, so S has 3 bond pairs. Okay, so S has 3 bond pairs. So that is for the second mark. Okay, the next mark will be given on the molecular shape. So you have to determine the correct molecular shape of SO3, which is trigonal planar. Okay, I repeat, it's trigonal planar. So again, you must use the correct shape for SO3. What about the bond angle, students? Okay, so because the shape of SO3 is trigonal planar, so the bond angle will become 120 degree. Because how you get 120 degree? Because 360 you divide by 3, you will get 120 degree. So that is the mark for bond angle for SO3. Okay, we go to the next structure. The next ion or the next molecule is SO3 2 minus. Okay, so again draw the correct Lewis structure for SO3 2 minus. Make sure that the valence electron is correct for each central atom and each terminal atom. And then make sure that you draw the negative charge on the oxygen with the single bond. Okay, there are 2 oxygen with single bond, so it will have the total charge is -2. Okay, so by looking at your diagram or by looking at your structure, okay, by using the VSPR theory, the S atom has 3 bond pairs and 1 lone pair. Okay, you can look at from your diagram, there are 3 bond pairs and 1 lone pair. Okay, so actually it has 4 pairs. Okay, but it has 1 lone pair. So the molecular shape is trigonal pyramidal. Okay, the molecular shape is trigonal pyramidal. Okay, and then the bond angle is less than 109.5 degree because of the presence of 1 lone pair that will give the bond angle less than 109.5, and will give the molecular shape is trigonal pyramidal. Okay, so this is the 4 marks given for the SO3 2- ion. So now you will get altogether is 12 marks from the first questions. Okay, we go to the next one. Okay, for question B, you have to compare the polarity of this oxide. From your diagram or from your structure for part A, you have to compare the polarity of this oxide. What is polarity? Okay, apakah dia kekutuban? You have to compare the polarity of this oxide. Okay, so the first mark will be given on you explain what is polar bond. So polar bond is SO bond is polar because O is more electronegative than S. So because of difference electronegativity between O and S, it will give the polar bond in SO bond. Okay, and then we go to the second one is SO3. So you have to determine whether SO3 is polar or non-polar. From the diagram, from your diagram, okay, we can say that SO3 is non-polar. Okay, why SO3 is non-polar? SO3 is non-polar molecule because the dipole moment cancel each other. Even though that the SO3 has the polar bond, but because of the polar bond is cancelled, or we can say that the total dipole moment is cancel each other. So there is no dipole moment. So the SO3 molecule is a non-polar molecule. Okay, we go to the next one is 3. SO3 2- is more polar than SO2. You have to compare the polarity between SO3 2- and SO2. So you can say that SO3 2- is more polar than SO2 because SO3 2- has more SR bond. Okay, so the order of the polarity will be the most polar is SO3 2-. The second one is SO2, and the non-polar molecule is SO3. So this is how you can get the marks for the part B. Okay, we go to the next one. Okay, the next one is asking you, or the question is from question 18 STPM 2017. STPM 2017. Okay, for the first part, the questions are: an ammonia molecule accepts 1 hydrogen ion to form an ammonium ion, or loses 1 hydrogen ion to form an amide ion. I repeat, an ammonia molecule accepts 1 hydrogen ion to form an ammonium ion, or loses 1 hydrogen ion to form an amide ion. Okay, the question is, first one is, draw Lewis structure of ammonium ion and amide ion. And then you need to compare the shapes of the two ions. So the total marks given for this part A is 8 marks. Okay, so we go to the answer. Okay, for the answer is Lewis structure of ammonium. Okay, so the structure is given ammonium, N is the central atom. Hydrogens, there are 4 hydrogen atoms. So 4 hydrogen atom will be surround nitrogen atoms. Okay, so make sure that you put positive charge on the central atom, which is the nitrogen. So this is the correct shape of ammonium. We go to the next one. Okay, so the next one is you have to draw the correct structure of NH2 minus. Okay, NH2 minus. So it has 2 bond pair and it has 2 lone pairs, and make sure that you put negative charge on the nitrogen. Okay, the next one. Okay, what about the molecular shape? Okay, so when you draw the correct Lewis structure, you will get the molecular shape of ammonium is tetrahedral. Okay, the shape is tetrahedral. Okay, the next one is you have to determine the bond angle. Okay, because the shape is tetrahedral, the bond angle of ammonium will be 109.5 degree. Okay, so that is the bond angle for ammonium. Okay, for the second part is you have to determine the molecular shape of NH2 minus. The molecular shape of NH2 minus is bent or V shaped. So that will be your third marks. And then you have to determine the bond angle of NH2 minus, which is less than 109.5 because of the presence of the lone pair. Okay, so the presence of lone pair will give different molecular shape and also different bond angle. Okay, we go to the next one. Okay, the next mark we will given on your explanations. So according to VSPR theory, so I hope that every student now know what is the VSPR theory. Okay, so according to VSEPR theory, the repulsions of lone pair is greater than lone pair bond pair is greater than bond pair. Okay, the repulsion of lone pair is greater than lone pair bond pair, and then greater than bond pair. Okay, so that will be your next mark. The last mark will be given on the number of pairs present in amide ion and present in ammonium ion. Okay, I give you example. Amide ion has 2 lone pairs and 2 bond pairs. Ammonium ion or you can say that ammonium ion has 4 bond pairs. Okay, so you have to know how to determine the bond pair and lone pair in your correct Lewis diagrams. Okay, next. The next question is you have to determine or you have to predict whether ammonium ion can form complex ion with copper 2 ion. And then you have to explain your answer. Predict whether ammonium ion can form complex ion with copper 2 ion, and then you have to explain your answer. So the marks given are 3 marks. Okay, the correct answer will be the ammonium ion cannot form complex ion with copper 2 ion. Okay, so why ammonium ion cannot form complex ion with copper 2 plus ion? Okay, so because it has no lone pair of electron, because ammonium ion has already achieved its octet configurations or octet stability. It has no lone pairs of electron, no more lone pairs of electrons. So it cannot form coordinate bond with copper 2+ ion. So that is the reason why the ammonium ion cannot form complex ion with copper 2+ copper 2 ion. Okay, next. Okay, for the next questions, okay, B, ammonia and phosphine VH3 are hydrides of group 15. Ammonia and phosphine PH3 are hydrides of group 15. Okay, the question is, which molecule is more polar? Which molecule is more polar? Okay, explain your answer. Next, we look at the answer. Okay, so how you will determine the polarity? So make sure that you know the molecular shape of the molecule. So from there, you can get the answer. So ammonia is more polar. Okay, the answer is ammonia is more polar. Okay, and then ammonia and VH3 has trigonal pyramidal shape. So both molecule has same shape, which is trigonal pyramidal shape. Okay, you must state that it has same shape or same molecular shape. Okay, but why ammonia is more polar? Okay, the reason is nitrogen in ammonia is more electronegative than phosphorus in PH3, and is in ammonia is more electronegative than phosphorus. So NH bond in ammonia supposed to have more polarity, or you can say that it more polar than pH bond. Okay, so that is the reason why ammonia is more polar than PH3. Okay, students, so now we have discussed several questions on essay question. So I hope that everybody or every student now know how to answer the essay question. Okay, so saya harap semua pelajar telah pun mengetahui bagaimanakah cara untuk menjawab soalan essay dengan baik, dan seterusnya mendapat markah yang tertinggi ataupun yang terbaik untuk soalan essay yang telah dijawab. Kita akan sambung pada bahagian yang seterusnya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.